With the number of crimes that go unsolved, we couldn't limit ourselves to just 2 lists. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for yet another top 10 unsolved murder mysteries.
Searches in the Florida Everglades and a mob-owned New Jersey dump site also came up empty.
Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at famous murders or suspected murders that have yet to be solved. If you didn't see a crime you thought should be on here, be sure to check out our first 2 videos on the top 10 unsolved murder mysteries.
And I tried to figure out what could have generated such rage.
Number 10. Betsy Aardsma. You know the story, the one about the corpse that's mistakenly thought to be alive through a series of hilarious misunderstandings. Though that may be the plot of an 80s comedy flick, you may be surprised to learn that similar events did actually occur in real life. Penn State University student Betsy Aardsma was studying in the school library on the day of November 28, 1969, when she was stabbed, severing her pulmonary artery. The little bleeding that did occur was masked by her red dress, meaning that no one even noticed Betsy was dead until she reached the hospital. Oh yeah, and to this day, Pennsylvania State Police are still searching for Betsy's murderer. Number 9. The Grimes Sisters. Barbara and Patricia Grimes were typical 50s teens, and while a healthy Elvis obsession and a desire for a fun Friday night sound innocent enough, they would eventually lead to the sisters' grisly murders. On the night of December 28, 1956, the Grimes sisters took in a showing of Love Me Tender. But when the girls never returned home after the show, their mother grew worried. Early theories suggested that the girls ran away in search of Elvis Presley himself. However, that hypothesis was put to rest when Barbara and Patricia's bodies were found less than a month after their disappearance. Number 8. William Desmond Taylor. As one of Hollywood's greatest unsolved mysteries, William Desmond Taylor's murder became a major influence in the world of pop culture. The silent film director was shot in his bungalow right in the heart of Hollywood. And while a doctor at the scene initially thought Taylor died of stomach complications, this was proven wrong when the body was turned over. Many names have been thrown around over the years as the potential culprit, including actress Mabel Normand and frequent Taylor collaborator Mary Miles Minter. But this unsolved murder just may be one case that will plague Hollywood forever. Number 7. Mary Meyer. It's quite possible that Mary Meyer played a significant role in maintaining peace during the Cold War. Meyer was known to have had an affair with President John F. Kennedy during his time in office, although some people claim that Kennedy actually discussed and sought advice from her on important international issues. Unfortunately, we'll never know the truth because Meyer was shot to death on October 12, 1964. Ray Crump was accused of the murder, but was eventually acquitted, leaving conspiracy theorists to claim the CIA may have been involved, considering she was divorced from a CIA official and was often critical of the agency. Regardless, her murder remains officially unsolved. Number 6. The Keddie Murders. The Sierra Nevada mountains in Northern California are the perfect spot for a vacation, but they were also the setting of a grisly mass murder. Sue Sharp and her 5 children had been renting a cabin in Keddie, California for a few months at a time. On April 12, 1981, the Sharps' oldest daughter, Sheila, discovered the tied-up bodies of her mother, her brother, and her brother's friend, all 3 of whom had been beaten to death with a claw hammer. The body and bones of Sheila's 12-year-old sister, Tina, were discovered years later. In 2004, the cabin was demolished, and as of 2017, no one has been arrested in connection with the murders.
Why are you doing this to us? Because you were home.
Number 5. Ken McElroy. Ken Rex McElroy was by no means the nicest man. In fact, he was indicted 21 times in his life and accused of dozens of felonies, including assault, statutory rape, and child molestation. In 1980, he shot 70-year-old Ernest Bowenkamp, but was able to appeal the conviction. He immediately went back and threatened to kill Bowenkamp, but he never got the chance. While sitting in his pickup truck with his wife, McElroy was shot several times. In total, there were as many as 46 witnesses, but no one called an ambulance. Although they were all interviewed, none of the witnesses confessed to seeing who specifically killed McElroy, and no one was charged. Number 4. Michael Rockefeller. The Rockefellers are considered by many to be one of the most powerful families in the history of the United States. They also experienced a terrible tragedy in 1961 when Michael Rockefeller, the 23-year-old son of Nelson Rockefeller, disappeared in Netherlands, New Guinea. Michael was attempting to capture indigenous art of the Asmat tribe, but never returned from his expedition. Theories have ranged from drowning to cannibalism, with journalist Carl Hoffman suggesting that he may have been killed by the locals in retaliation for an incident that occurred several years earlier. Number 3. Jimmy Hoffa. A union activist since his teens, Jimmy Hoffa became the president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters in 1958. His role with the Teamsters led him to organized crime, however, and he was even sentenced to prison for jury tampering and fraud. It was this connection that may have led to his disappearance. Hoffa was last seen in the parking lot of the Macca's Red Fox restaurant on July 30th, 1975. Hoffa had allegedly been there to meet with 2 members of the mafia. He was officially declared dead in 1982, and his body has yet to be found, although there is no shortage of rumors as to where it might be found. Number 2. Marilyn Reese Shepard.
I didn't kill my wife! I don't care!
The wife of Dr. Sam Shepard, Marilyn Shepard was beaten to death in her bed on the morning of July 4th, 1954. According to Sam, he had heard his wife scream and found an intruder in his home, eventually chasing him down to the beach where they fought, but the intruder escaped.
When I came home, there was a man in my house. I fought with this man.
Sam was charged with second-degree murder and controversially convicted to life in prison. This conviction was eventually overturned in a retrial after he had served 10 years, due to the fact that the murder weapon was never found, and there was nothing to tie Sam to the murder. Despite Sam's best efforts upon his release, he never found his wife's killer. Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Within himself, he's forced to do this. He can't stop himself. He will continue to commit the crimes as long as he is out and he is free. He has an insatiable drive to commit these crimes.
Number 1. The Sauter Children. On Christmas Eve in 1945, the Sauters' West Virginia home burned to the ground. George Sauter, his wife Jenny, and 4 of his children escaped, but his other 5 kids did not. George tried to save them by climbing through their window, but his ladder was missing. He then attempted to use 2 different trucks to boost himself into the house, but neither started. Different sources reported different search results, with one claiming no remains were found, and another noting bone fragments. But this, along with other questionable findings about the circumstances, gave the parents hope that perhaps their kids hadn't died. George and Jenny spent the remainder of their lives trying to find out what happened to their children, to no avail.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.